You know the feeling. It's midnight and your thumb keeps flicking. War headlines, melting ice, layoffs, fires. The group chat pings with donation links and petitions you can't even track anymore. Your chest tightens. Too much. Too big. Too many. You close the apps and stare at the ceiling, guilty for turning away and frozen about what to do. Here's the thought that won't leave me. What if the idea that you must hold the entire world in your head to be ethical is the lie that's crushing you? And what if one of the Gita's most dramatic scenes gives you explicit permission to zoom back in so you can act now without going numb? What's fascinating is how overwhelm tricks us. We confuse carrying everything with caring well. We imagine that if we look away for a moment, we stop being good. Meanwhile, our nervous system quietly powers down. The result isn't more compassion, it's less movement. Here's what struck me as I wrestled with this. There's a way to toggle scale without abandoning truth, a way to honor the whole while taking a human-sized step tonight. By the end of this conversation, you'll have one simple practice you can use the next time reality feels unholdable. And a story that proves shrinking the frame can save lives. High stakes, clear moves. Let's begin. Picture your mind like a crowded hall at dusk. Every door opens at once, and people rush in with urgent news. You're noble for trying to listen to everyone, but after a few minutes, you can't hear anyone. That's the paradox. The more total the view, the less usable it becomes. I've had nights where I could feel my jaw locked and my stomach tight, as if bracing for a wave I couldn't see. I kept telling myself, real adults don't look away. But here's the twist. Real adults learn to choose the frame that lets them do the next right thing. That's not selfish, skill. So tonight, instead of pretending we're bottomless, let's try something different. Let's learn how to hold the horizon long enough to remember why it matters, and then come back to a scale where hands, words, and hours can actually move the needle. February 1855, Sukhari, outside Istanbul. The British Army hospital is a disaster. More soldiers are dying from cholera, typhus, and dysentery than from bullets. The wards reek, drains are blocked, and the air is stale. Deaths spike so catastrophically that in February alone, the mortality in the Sukhari hospitals hits an annualized rate of 427 per 1,000. Imagine standing in that. It's a kind of cosmic form of suffering, too vast and tangled to hold in a single mind. Florence Nightingale walks those wards at night with a lamp. What's fascinating is the quiet, radical choice she makes. She shrinks the frame to what hands can change. Air, light, water, drains, order. Open the windows, unblock the sewers, move the beds, clean, record, repeat. Then, here's the genius, she translates months of mortality into a single image leaders can hold, the polar area diagram in her 1858 report. One picture made preventable deaths undeniable and pushed policy toward sanitation. Later she wrote, "It may seem a strange principle to enunciate as the very first requirement in a hospital that it should do the sick no harm." She wasn't being poetic. She was resizing reality so action could land, and lives began to shift. Now to the Gita. There's this idea tucked into chapter 11, the most cinematic moment in the whole text. Arjuna asks to see reality as it truly is. Krishna grants the vision, and it is everything, time-devouring worlds, beginnings and endings braided together, the totality at once. While this is traditionally seen as a profound revelation of God's absolute nature, there's also a deeply human psychological lesson embedded in what happens next. Arjuna trembles. He is terrified and paralyzed. He can't act. So Krishna, in an act of profound compassion, does something surprising. He says, "Be not afraid, behold again my former form," and shifts back into a gentle, human scale. Arjuna's relief is immediate. Seeing that gentle human form, he says he is himself again. His mind is no longer shattered by the infinite. It's restored to a state where he can think, choose, and act. Here's what struck me. The text doesn't scold Arjuna for being unable to hold the whole. It shows a reversible scaling. Glimpse the vastness to set your compass, then return to the scale where your mind can function and your hands can move. Not denial, design. If that sounds theoretical, look again at Nightingale and Sutari. She was standing inside a kind of cosmic vision. Thousands of lives, invisible causes, politics, logistics, fear. She toggled. First, she shrank the frame to levers she could touch. Air, light, water, drains, order. Beds moved. Windows opened. Ledgers filled. Then she re-expanded the view, turning months of mortality into a picture power could actually hold. That picture funded dreams in places she would never see. That's the toggle in boots. Why does this matter for us? Because modern life keeps handing us the cosmic form, macros by the minute. Our nervous systems try to be saints, and then quit. Social scientists even have names for this. As the numbers rise, feeling drops. Too many inputs lead to paralysis. What's fascinating is that we mistake that paralysis for virtue. We try to carry the flood as proof of our care and then do nothing. Here's an aha that landed for me. The big picture is for orientation. The small picture is for execution. You need both, but not at the same time and not all day. The skill is moving between scales on purpose. Let's practice in imagination. You're worried about climate collapse. The horizon matters. It names why your effort counts. But if you try to hold the whole arc continuously, your body taps out. The toggle invites a rhythm. Morning horizon time to set direction. This is why I'm doing the retrofit, calling the council member, supporting the local group. Then a return to the human scale. Send the email, measure the windows, book the meeting room. Hands, not haze. Or your job feels precarious. Big picture, global shifts, automation, contraction. Useful for strategy, useless for sleep. Toggle. Zoom in on 2 people you will call by 10 a.m., the 1 portfolio piece you will finish by Friday, and the script you'll use when they pick up. Human scale reopens agency. Or you care about a war far from your street. The whole matters for conscience. But doom viewing 12 angles at midnight rarely produces wise help. Toggle. Set a focused window for informing yourself. Shrink to 1 move that travels. Give, host, translate, welcome the new family 3 blocks away. 2 objections usually show up. First, if I zoom in, I'm being selfish. I get it, but small scale is not small effect. It's how effect happens. Nightingale's window and drain were not symbolic gestures. They lowered exposure to disease for actual bodies. Your 1 hour can be the point where suffering meets relief because the scale is finally compatible with hands. Second, if I'm not fully informed all the time, I'm complicit. Notice the absolutism. The Gita's compassion for our cognitive limits is not cowardice, it's accuracy. You wouldn't breathe ocean water to prove your love of the sea. You breathe air so you can sail. Here's the design principle I wish I learned earlier. Different scales do different cognitive jobs. The cosmic scale sets meaning and direction. The human scale enables planning and movement. Your brain cannot sustain both for long without cost. So you schedule your scales. Horizon time, hands time. Hold the stars long enough to orient, then return to the workbench. and the task decides the distance. Watch Nightingale again by lamplight. When the task was saving lives tonight, she picked the human scale: air, water, order. When the task was persuading Parliament, she picked the horizon, one picture to translate months of deaths into an undeniable case. Toggle, task, toggle, task. That rhythm is wiser than white-knuckling the whole. So the teaching in one line: you do not have to hold everything to act well. You have to right-size reality for the next useful move, then right-size it again to tell the truth upstream. Glimpse the vast to align your heart. Return to the gentle form so your mind can function. That's not retreat. That's how agency survives. Okay, practice time. Let's try one tiny, specific experiment I'm calling the lamp round. It's just the 2-frame toggle you've heard about, but concrete, 5 minutes, and you can do it tonight. Here's the setup. The next time you're about to refresh the news after 9 p.m., pause and run this 5-minute lamp round. Name the vast thing in one line. Whisper it, as if you were noting a patient's chart. Overwhelmed by the war, scared about climate, anxious about layoffs. Pick one human-sized lever you can touch in 5 minutes or less. Think Nightingale by lamplight. Air, water, order, but modern. Fill one local volunteer form. Send one email to the person who can unblock a fix. Donate the amount you chose at noon. Draft the first sentence of the grant. Text 2 friends to join Saturday's shift. Take one clean action now, before the timer ends. If the lever feels too big, do the first inch only. Open the form and complete the first field. Write the email subject line and the first line. Schedule the 15-minute call. Place the donation and save the receipt. Write a simple if-then for the next trigger and leave it by your lamp. One sentence. If I feel the urge to doom scroll tomorrow night, then I'll repeat the same lever or its next inch. This is your bridge from care to movement. Why this?
It mirrors the Gita's move from the unbearable cosmic vision back to the gentle human form where Arjuna could act, and it echoes Nightingale's rounds. Shrink to what hands can change, then translate it so action travels. Your text to 2 friends is a tiny version of her diagram, a clear signal others can hold. You'll probably forget and slip into the feed. That's okay. The moment you notice is the moment the experiment begins. Run the lamp round then. No guilt, just curiosity. I wonder what happens if I try this for 1 week. What might shift after 7 days? You might find a little breathing room opens up. 1 or 2 concrete outcomes stack where fog used to be. Conversations about the big picture feel cleaner because your hands have touched a piece of it. Or nothing obvious changes. Either way, you learn how your mind toggles and what scale lets you do the next useful thing. Before we part, take a quiet moment and picture a Renaissance chamber at dusk. Warm candlelight gathers in the corners. On the far wall, a vast celestial map hangs. Stars, seasons, the sweep that humbles and orients. At a wooden table in the foreground sits a calm healer with 4 clean basins labeled air, light, water, order. The heavens don't vanish. They recede to their place. The hands move. Name your vast thing once, softly. Then choose one lever you can move before noon tomorrow. If it's night where you are, write your if-then on a scrap beside the lamp. Let it be your gentle form, waiting to restore your mind when the cosmic vision tries to steal your sleep. The world doesn't need more people paralyzed by the hole. It needs people who can see the hole and still move their hands. Tonight, don't hold everything. Hold one thing well.